Get me out of here! They all say the same when bound to this stake, and with death facing them, Leonardo.
I'm merely telling the truth. God have mercy. You know that I'm innocent, and if you set me free, I'll bring you the real killer.
Of course you will. And the mysterious, diabolical killer will be free to take your place at the stake, won't he?
What did you say?
You'll accuse the first person who comes to mind. I don't intend to allow an innocent man to pay for your crimes.
But I can tell you now who the killer is.
Listen to the words of a condemned soul, brothers. Hear how he proclaims his innocence after having made a pact with Beelzebub. Remember that the devil deceives. Recall that the Holy Scriptures command us to stay far from temptation. Recall that.
Nazario of Milan. I am innocent. Curse you and all you stand for. I'm innocent.
No one who ends up where you are is innocent, Leonardo.
You've always wanted to see me here, and now you've finally achieved that. But you're wrong. I haven't done a thing, and I know who the killer is.
Is that right? And why should I believe the lies of a deceitful heretic? Guards, the torch!
You'll burn eternally in hell for this.
Though the only one who's going to burn today is you.
It's said that the Dominicans are the dogs of God, but you're the devil's vulture.
We are condemning your body to save your soul. This shall serve as an example to all those who resolve to turn their backs on God and heed the call of evil. Poor Leonardo. First he fell out of grace with the Emperor. Now he's squandered the grace of God.
One day you'll pay for your crimes.
You can talk as much as you want before your tongue feeds the flames. Farewell, Leonardo. Receive the flame of eternal purification.
No, he's innocent.
Hey, heretic! Are you getting hot? Now comes the worst part. I don't want to watch that. You're right, you never get used to it, do ya?
Oh, God.
So that's how I squandered the grace of God, hmm?
Master? I'm so sorry. I thought you had some kind of contact with the devil. You made me desecrate things, and...
It was not desecration. We were searching for the truth.
I see that now, Master.
It was your fault that I nearly died. God help us. What made you think of accusing me? What the devil gave you such ideas?
I was scared. Nazario. He frightened me, and I...
Frightened? Have I ever taught you to fear telling the truth?
No. I learnt enough about that from my father.
Nor were you taught to weep like a little boy. Why are you crying? Because you received a few deserved strokes of the lash?
No, because... No. Please, don't leave me here alone.
Will you stand by me, no matter what? Because you can rest assured that you are going to see a monstrous demon. Are you ready to follow me to the bitter end?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, Master.
Good. We're off, Bruno.
Where are we going?
We're going to finish this once and for all. The final hour has come. Bruno, stay near the doorway. It would be better.
If you say so, Master.
Thomas?
Huh? Well, well. Brother Leonardo de Toledo. I thought by this stage you'd already be burning in the flames of hell.
Well, it's true that I was about to be burnt at the stake. I assumed that would have been sufficient for you.
Now, true. I admit I would have found that agreeable.
That way the culprit would have been found and eliminated by the Holy Inquisition. Everything would have gone back to normal and you could have carried on with your plans.
Let's not beat around the bush, Leonardo. Do you really believe that? I'd have thought you were much more intelligent. Do you think it bothers me if the truth comes to light? Not anymore. At this stage, there's no turning back.
Are you saying you're going to carry out the invocation to the end? Is that the last step?
It's already been done. After you were arrested, I set to work on the translation. I followed the instructions to the letter. I have the book, the pentagram, and the elements. I spent years searching desperately for them until I spied them here at this library. I knew that the book would end up here sooner or later, and that I'd find it. I settled down here and waited 16 long years.
Until Bruno and I appeared with the book.
It belonged to my father. He was a genius. He knew a great deal about alchemy and the occult arts. A long time ago, a story was told that the few copies of this book in existence that had belonged to a sect of heretics had been destroyed. But evil never allows itself to be wiped out completely. My father got hold of fragments that had survived, and then reconstructed the book through the research he did. But in the end, it all came to naught, due to the Inquisition and Nazario of Milan.
Yes, I remember that story because it had something to do with my departure from the Emperor's court. I never understood why Nazario and the Emperor were so possessed by heretical books, until I realized what was being hatched in this library.
You're not to blame. You're merely another victim of a hoax they've been carrying on with for years.
Power corrupts not only the nobility, it even takes hold of our own members of the church. The Emperor believed that he could use his entire knowledge of heresy to his advantage. Satanic books, diabolical rituals, alchemy. To all intents and purposes, every book found in all of Christianity was burnt in the bonfires. But with Nazario as an ally, in reality, they were sent here, translated and archived. If I presume correctly, in the insane hope that they would serve his interests.
Of course. Can you imagine an army of immortal demons? Spells that can transform good, pious people into little more than brute animals? That's too much power to leave in the hands of people with such limited minds like the Emperor or Nazario. It's the right of the gifted, like me. We have the right to make use of them.
No one has the right to commit abominable deeds like the ones which have occurred here over the last few days.
Would it give you some kind of satisfaction to tell me my sins to my face?
Wasn't Gottfried aware that you intended to take his place?
That mentally retarded oaf? A fool like him should never have been allowed to become assistant librarian in the first place. No, he thought occultism was merely an innocent game. I think he never believed in the power of Satan. He never feared him or paid him the respect we have for him.
That's why he secretly lent Anselmo books, didn't he?
Anselmo was insolent. He never accepted his lot at the Abbey. He was preoccupied with constantly improving himself and getting ahead, nothing else. That's why he was punished, and despite his experience as a copyist, he was demoted to gatekeeper.
There's something almost comical about giving all the keys to the Abbey, in other words, those that enable you to leave the edificium and enter the library too, to the one person who had the most interest in the library's secrets. Apart from you, of course.
Yes, of course. I've had my eyes on those books since I arrived here. Did they really think I wouldn't notice what's going on here? That I wouldn't associate the sounds at night in the edificium with the rumors of phantasmagoric apparitions in the library?
And you blackmailed Gottfried with accusing him in front of the abbot if he refused to give you the books.
Yes, he let me leaf through some ancient manuscripts in which the architects of the Abbey illustrated how to move around in the secret passages. Learning that brought me enormous satisfaction. Even though Gottfried was too much of a coward to allow me access to the upper floors, I was able to study the secret index, and he brought me any volume I desired into the scriptorium. When you appeared, and I heard that this book was finally going to be catalogued, I thought that my quest would soon be over and done with.
Yet it was precisely my arrival and the abbot's request to investigate Anselmo's death that interrupted your activities. Gottfried was afraid of being caught and destroyed the evidence. The parchment from the crypt was safe, even though he wasn't able to get it out of Anselmo's desk. He didn't have the key, so he assumed that no one else would get their hands on it either. But the illustration that provided access to the library... I must admit it was quite clever to hide the sheet of paper in Anselmo's grave. No monk would have dared to do... yes, well, what I did. A very intelligent move on his part.
Intelligent? Gottfried? He surely hid it there because no other place occurred to him. Or because he did it that night when we...
If I've learned one thing, it's never to underestimate someone's intelligence. It's sufficiently clear that on the night when he was alone with you in the cemetery, he prepared everything he did in the event that you might kill him, with an alibi and no witnesses.
I thought he would give me the book. Instead, I found him stuttering and trembling with fear, because Brother Leonardo was going to discover his secret, and he would be excommunicated. A whimpering coward!
And with one of Egidio's shovels, in a moment of anger, you killed him.
It wasn't anger, Leonardo. Don't insult me. I was well aware that Marcello favored me enough to make me Gottfried's successor once he was no longer there.
I know, but the way you did away with him. You dragged him across the cemetery and hid him in the cemetery chapel. You knew we'd find him the next day, yet even that didn't matter to you.
I beg your pardon, but you're not as smart as you think. You're not capable of grasping my plan down to the last minute detail. I didn't care what would happen with Gottfried's body. I thought that by obtaining access to the library, I would get access to the book. And once I had the sorcerer's spell in my hands, nothing else would have been important anyway.